Hi, everybody. It's Killshot99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead live fan reactions. This is week number 5, and every week we just have more and more to unpack. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. So, I do want to get kind of the feeling from everybody, see how you guys like the episode before we get too far into it. How about a big shout out to our Patreon army? Thanks so much for everything that you guys do. And we got Dwight and Sherry, and they just got together, and then a whole lot of stuff went down. So normally we start our episode with, scores to kind of get a feeling to see what everybody thought of tonight's episode. So we are like a minute early, so I'm sure a few more people are going to walk in. How about before we get going, super special shout out to Valar, Hello 99 Army Kills, Great Mods, channel members, patrons, PDL, players, sponsors, super chats, the whole nine. I see Dark Princess in the house. Hello 99 fans. Who knew Jabberwockies were making an appearance tonight? And the Mask from Vanilla Sky. Had a lot of good stuff tonight. Let's go ahead. I love it when it's like, I like tonight's episode, 7.5. It depends on the scale of which we use. So, let's throw it out there. Let me get some numbers, just some basic numbers, your reaction to it. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. I see Busy Bee with a 7. Sam, 8.5. Moonshot, 8.4. Rebecca Mendez, 7. B-Dub, 7. Dark Princess, 9. E-Beach, 8.6. I've been pretty brutal on this season. Maybe an understatement. I've been a little tough. Not all of it is just brutality, I guess. Some of it is just finding little nuances that make sense or don't make sense. And I think there's things in every episode that we could do that with. I like tonight's episode. I don't think I'm at a point where I love it yet, but I'm gradually more and more entertained by it. I still think there's some incongruencies with the characters and what they do and what I expect them to do. But, we've had 6s and 7s, and I was probably like a 6.5 for the season. I would give this an 8 tonight. And it's not on a Fear the Walking Dead scale. I just think that what they're doing is good. I still do have this question of, why do you need an army to fight somebody that's just not that tough? And I'm, even next week, you saw the preview. Ginny walking out there with the gun just does not frighten me. It doesn't scare me. There's nothing she's done at all to make me afraid of her. And I almost have to put that part of the story to the side and say, yeah, just Ginny ain't going to be mean, but I like the whole rebuilding and getting the group together and the firepower. I mean, we'll see it little by little. So I think from entertainment value, I'm going to give it an 8. From trying to understand what makes people so afraid of Ginny, I still don't get it. It's right. Ginny's got a gun. I mean, she looks mean from time to time, but she just doesn't do it. Tonight's episode. How do you guys feel about Dwight working years and years finding Sherry only to have her trick him to see? All right, I'm gonna start. Why not? What the hell? Okay, this doesn't make any sense. So Dwight hears Sherry, comes down from the building. They meet each other. Big reunion. And she says, like, you brought the hot sauce, you didn't bring the fork. And then she leaves. And at that point, everybody knows, like, wait a minute. She's in with another group. She's part of the mask group. So it takes all of that out of the equation. And she was basically using Dwight to get the location of Ginny. That's it. And she says she's still having some flashbacks of Negan. So we get the Negan callback. And we do find out it's kind of a tough situation with her. I mean, her tears are real. So, she is emotional. But am I the only one that wants to know what Ginny did to Sherry? Like, I have no clue. I have no clue why Sherry wants to kill Ginny so bad. And I've known Ginny for 2 years. Eric, problem with Ginny is that her history of brutality is not really known. Is she a bad? Exactly. And again, we're going to have a lot of backstories, right? Because if all these people hate Ginny that much or are afraid of her that much, it's just time to start showing it. Fake Sanjay Gupta, I remember you from a couple weeks ago, and I just got to be honest, you're just an asshole. So, yeah, I just go. I don't say that often. But I remember you. Sorry. Yeah, that too. All right. Anyway, back where we were. Yeah, there's a history there. Sorry. It's not about Ginny. It's about Negan. She has loads of trauma. Yeah, see, Reaper Chick, I get that. And on the surface, that's a good backstory. And I'm not changing this. I'm going to stay with an 8 because, tonight I'm rating on entertainment value only. And I like the subtle nature of Morgan and Dwight. I like the jokes. And I'll tell you the other thing I like tonight. I like the fact that Dwight was starting to get. See, Sherry has this psychological issue with what Negan did to her and what Negan did to Dwight. And she's afraid that he'll go back to that side. But I got to tell you, I like that side of Dwight tonight. I like that interrogation. In fact, probably the best part of tonight's show was when Dwight was about to beat the crap out of that guy. But yet we get the answer finally, right? I mean, we've been saying this for like a year. Like, what happened to Dwight? Why can't Dwight toughen up? Because he's trying to change himself to get back to who he was when he first met her. So Dwight is getting a little bit of that Morgan story. But I just want to see Dwight be like that, and I want to see Morgan be like that, and I want to see John, and then I want them to have a reason to be like that. Yeah, and I'm not saying, Eric, that it's impossible to know more about Ginny and to get more of the backstory. But we're on episode 5. Can we get it already? I really think this episode could have been a 9 for me if I just knew a little bit more about Ginny. Well, you know what, Dylan, that's another good question. So they spent a good portion of tonight's episode. See, you guys keep asking me these questions. I'm not lowering it lower than an 8. I'm going to stay with my 8. But yeah, the more questions you guys ask me, okay, can I, at the end of tonight's stream, can I change my mind a little bit? Okay, I'm gonna reserve the right to lower my score a little bit, only because you guys are asking really good questions. Okay, why are we pretending like Ginny is so hard to get to? Daniel could have cut her throat when he was cutting her hair. Morgan could have snuck in. I mean, Daniel's right there. Morgan could have snuck back in the fence and killed her while she slept. But this mass group, I don't even know if they have a name, but this mass group, they want to know like where she's going to be. They're trying to track her down, get her to, ride out with the group so they can gun her down. I mean, John was going to walk across town and go in and shoot her until Strand slowed him down and stopped him. Eric said, kills, like to put it out, the issue is a major flaw of Fear the Walking Dead. The character development since Madison, the original characters, has been terrible. Yeah. Eric, I told myself tonight I was going to be really, really positive because the ratings have been a little better. And, I thought, hey, maybe I'm a little too brutal. So I just took a step back and thought about overall in the show. And maybe I'm looking for things that other people aren't looking for. But I think that's kind of natural. I think all of us are just, we want it to be a little bit better. But I wasn't, let me ask it this way. Was anybody like just super bored tonight and thought it was terrible? So we'll start with that being the bar. Because for me, I was not. I thought it was a little better than last week. I think they need to answer a few questions before they ask a few more questions. No, Julia, I'm certainly not on the edge of my seat. And I mean, it doesn't keep me mesmerized. Nor when she does something, am I mortified by anything that that Ginny does? No. And I think that, maybe the writers thought that killing off the bounty hunter and killing off the two sub guys might further enforce Ginny's evil nature. And then, she chained the girl up and she got eaten by walkers. So watching that a second time tonight, I thought, it'd be a little bit, maybe I missed something or missed a little bit of the emotional, feeling or the moment. But Eric, certainly there's a lot of inconsistency with the characters. Well, do you guys think it's fair? I do. But I'm going to ask you this question. That we draw a comparison to Ginny and the Saviors? Like Ginny and her group versus Negan and the Saviors. Because I feel like that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to make this look like Ginny has a stronghold and she's got a group of people that will do these evil, vile things for her. But we haven't really seen them do any evil, vile things. And we're like 10, 12 episodes in with her. What? I'm trying. All right. I can't read that. I can't read that. I'll just I'll just acknowledge it. Okay? And thank you for that. But I can't even. Yeah. All right. I'm perfectly okay with having Sherry there and bringing up Negan and tying it into the mothership, the real story. It's part of the franchise. Why make a spinoff if you can't use the main show to help boost your chances a little bit? In fact, they could do it more. Just for the life of me, I've said it 100 times. Why did they make Negan choke Simon? Why didn't they just move Simon to Fear the Walking Dead and just carry over that? There would be no questions about it right now. We wouldn't be hoping and wishing and looking for a backstory. Why did they just not let him go to Texas and just kill a whole bunch of people, and Fear the Walking Dead would just be so good right now? I mean, it would be phenomenal. We wouldn't be hoping that Ginny does something wrong. It'd be right there in front of us. Because the struggle to that is now, I never thought I'd say this. It's like we want to find a way to hate this woman, and we just can't do it. It's like, give me something to hate her. So that way when somebody kills her, I cheer for it. It's almost like tonight when Morgan told Dwight, he's like, no, you can't do it now. It's not the right time. Well, if Grace said that, would you do it? And Morgan's like, you got a point there. Yeah, it's not the right time. You know why it's not the right time? Because we don't care if she dies. So Morgan has to drag this out a little bit so we find a reason to hate her, which has not happened yet. With the character issue, Morgan, he has more personalities than Sybil. I wish they need to take him to a base character that was back in The Walking Dead. And, Eric, it's the same. Because, they have other characters that are the same way. And who elected Morgan as the leader? That dialogue scene, am I the only person that had a problem with Al? Okay, it's almost like you tell a joke. Al, Morgan, and Dwight go to a bar, and Dwight wants to kill Ginny. And Al says to him, "It's not your call, Dwight." Why is it not Dwight's call? Why is it by default Morgan's call? What made it his call all of a sudden? So I didn't like that. I know I'm picking, but sure, it's Dwight's call. They all want to do the same thing. And Dwight seemed to have more people with him than Morgan had with him. I mean, well, in theory, you thought it was. Um, Eric, Dark Prince say, it's the writers. I don't know. I really don't. I touched on this a little bit last week. Don't worry. I'm still at 8 right now. But I want to have some honest dialogue around this. I want to have some honest debate. So, Eric, Dark Princess, there's something that you do in writing where you have a starting point and you know where you're going to end up, but you allow the characters to drive the story. And I don't care. You know what? Right now, I don't care what you say. You can say, "Hey, you can't make the comparison between The Walking." Yes, I can. I'm going to right now. So if you don't like it, tough. Because I always kind of back away from it and say, it's a different show, it's a different show. No. It's the same showrunner, it's the same producers, it's the same universe. So here's the challenge. In The Walking Dead, they have a starting point and an ending point, and they allow the actors to be so powerful that they shape the story. And on Fear the Walking Dead, they put these actors in such a tight box that they have to take them from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 to step 5. You got to do it just like this, just like this, just like that. But The Walking Dead, you can see the creativity, and I will bet you if you got into the behind-the-scenes stuff for The Walking Dead, that they would say that occasionally the actors take the story in a slightly different direction, where it's either Andrew Lincoln was just so good that maybe it was a semi-serious scene, and the chemistry with him and Daryl, him and Norman, might have made it something that the audience feels. And then we're with them, right? But on Fear the Walking Dead, you get these little segments where we're saying like, well, no, a person wouldn't do that. That's not real emotion. So when we see Dwight, and Dwight's trying to interrogate somebody, and then out of the blue, Morgan pulls a chair out from under the guy, and then Dwight looks like a little kid, like, okay, I'll just take my ball and go home. You guys won't let me kill this person. That's what I felt like when I watched that scene. But Rick and Daryl, let's imagine that's okay. All right, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna do it. If you guys want to see, Kills goes off on a tangent in his own direction of what Fear the Walking Dead should have done in that scene tonight, then give me a quick 999. Because I'm going to tell you what Rick and Daryl would have done that would have made that scene really, really good, as opposed to, and I know you guys saw it, and I know you felt it, and I know you didn't like the way Dwight did it, and then, this guy is almost like, he's almost like that whisper when Carol was there. Didn't that kind of remind you of the Carol scene? Carol would not have reacted like that, but the guy's like, I ain't going to tell you, whatever. Do whatever you want to me. And then, is that your girlfriend over there? Don't you look at her. Don't you talk about her. Now, I think you need a little more guts. That was a callback to Spencer as well. But the best they could do is get a puppy to attack this guy. If that was Rick and Daryl, even if Rick didn't want him to die, I'm going to give you guys the story. Daryl would have punched him in the face a couple times. Hey, you son bitch. Boom, hit him again. You better talk right now, you son bitch. Dwight should have used at least son of a bitch like twice. 2 son of a bitches and a couple punches in the face. And then Morgan could have came over and tackled him and said, hey, it's not the right time now, Dwight. It's not the right time. He's not going to talk. And then you kind of let him breathe a little bit, calm him down so he can get a little toughness and we can appreciate Dwight a little bit. But how many people thought Dwight was just like, they just wouldn't let him play? And he was pouting. They made Dwight pout. Daryl doesn't pout. Rick doesn't pout. But just soon as you're ready to like Dwight again. So that's kind of my point. And so I can like, that's why I said I thought it could have been a 9. It could have been better tonight if they've got these great actors, but they need to let them drive the story. Because if they drive the story, we will feel attached to it. It's why we love the characters on The Walking Dead so much, and we struggle with the characters on Fear the Walking Dead. And they don't just do it with Dwight. How many people here, raise your hand, give me a 999, if you're super, super pissed off and frustrated that Alicia cannot just be a badass on the show? Free Alicia. Let her kill things. How many times have they manipulated her character? Okay? And again, how many people every week you want John Dory, and we know it's his character at this point, right? I mean, that's not going to change, but I'm still hopeful. Like, the toughest thing John Dory has done since he's been on the show is pull out a tooth. But maybe he's turning the corner. That tooth might have been symbolic of, I don't even know what it's symbolic of. Maybe it's symbolic he's going to start killing people. So it's almost as if when you go to Fear, you leave your balls on the Walking Dead show. I'm sorry, I don't know any other analogy, I don't know any other way to say it. But when you go to Fear, you better be ready to just accept that you're going to be beaten down and persecuted and never be able to rise above anything. For example, John's drinking the Kool-Aid big time. It was a little surprising to me that, okay, so if Ginny is that bad, I got to ask it this way. 1 plus 1 plus 1 does not equal 3. And I'm going to show you why it does not. This is the best example I can give you. Just like popped in my head clear as day. So this is where fear has a problem. People are assembling an army to kill Ginny. Would you agree with that? I mean, we see it. Sherry said, I want to kill her. She needs to die. Morgan wants to kill her. She needs to die. We need to take her out. Like all of the above. They want to kill her. So there's 1. So 1 plus 1 is typically to kill someone, you have to have a reason to kill them. You got to know something about them. You got to think that they're just so ruthless to people. They won't give you your freedom. All of the above. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. But John Dory said something last week, and Janice had said it as well, when John basically callously says, after Janice dies, repeating her, says, she was right. Everything falls apart. It's around here. Something like that. I'm thinking like, what's a dumb thing to say? Well, if you go back to number 1, I'm on 3, but if you go back to number 1, well, they hate Ginny. They want to kill Ginny. So why is John in number 3 acting like this is just some epiphany, like, well, yeah, everything around here is going to go to shit? Well, it's because Ginny is a ruthless, evil killer that everybody wants to kill. But the people that live there don't seem to feel that she needs to be murdered, that she needs to be so I'm struggling with that. That's the part of it that I don't get. And even if you go flashback and, you know, she puts a kitten up a tree and won't climb a ladder and help the kitten down. If she does the most ruthless thing at this point, I'm still thinking, well, why is John acting like it's such a surprise that everybody here, it just goes badly? And he's quoting Janice like she was his authority that gave him that knowledge. But he's been there for a year, and he hasn't seen it for himself. So that's it. That's the only thing that I think that they got to get a handle on. And I do think that it is as bad as not developing the villainous Ginny, to me, is as much of a flaw as The Walking Dead overly brutalizing the death of Glenn and Abraham. I thought that was a major mistake on The Walking Dead, and I think the lack of doing it, you got to find your comfort, your comfort zone. Yeah, she did. Um, Mariah, here's the problem. Whether it's Ginny or Dakota or Southern California, I don't care what the person's name is. They have never been able to properly develop a villain on Fear the Walking Dead. So if they give us a Sixth Sense moment and all of a sudden it's like, hey, Ginny's not terrible. It was the kid who chained her up and did that. And it'd be like, okay, that's shocking. But there's this whole army out there trying to kill Ginny. So I do think that Ginny is supposed to be tied into some type of evil plot. You know, Sam, I think every episode that we don't get to know that part of Ginny, it makes it more and more difficult. I do want to do this though. All right, let's see if the needle changed any at all. So every week we do a evil Ginny barometer. All right, so this is where we're going to go 1 to 10. The only thing Ginny did tonight was not show up so Sherry could kill her. So from a 1 to a 10, 10 being most vile evil villain in the history of The Walking Dead, where do you see Ginny's current fear factor? Give me a number from 1 to a 10. Just so it's not my number. I just want to kind of see where everybody's at with it right now. So we got some 1s, some 2s, 4s, 5s. Eric's like negative numbers. Moonshot, if you gave her a 5, I bet like when the Geico commercial with Casper the Friendly Ghost comes on, I bet it like sends you running in your room and hiding under the covers. Because Ginny's not a 5. Come on, Jason. Really? Even Deadly Dimes took it down a rung. Tammy is like, she's backpedaling. She went from a 4 to a 3. I love the PDL reference. Nice. Yeah, we don't go politics here, Dark Prince. Yeah, we'll leave that one. But yeah, you guys can please steer clear of any political chatter or debate. I would appreciate that. I mean, she's walking out with a gun next week. But who here thinks she's really going to kill somebody next week? I mean, we've had opportunity. Her voice is scary. I don't disagree with that. I mean, she shot Morgan. But you know what? You know what's interesting about Ginny shooting Morgan last season? You know what the tagline was? You know what the story was? When Morgan got shot last season, the only thing people cared about was whether or not Rick was going to fly in a helicopter and save Morgan. Had nothing to do with Ginny. Nobody even cared. I don't remember one person in stream saying, "Oh my God, she's so evil. She just shot Morgan." And now it's kind of an afterthought. And look, let me go on the record and say this. If they do it, if she kills someone next week, and if next week and the week after, I'm going to be the happiest person here. It's not going to be an "I told you so." It's not going to be see what they did. I'm cheering for it. I want it to happen. And I'm not saying they won't do it. I'm not saying they won't try to do it. What I'm saying is they need to do it. I did not see that. Eric asked, I saw an article about ghostwriters to repair the Fear the Walking Dead storyline. Do you believe this? Why would Gimple approve this storyline and the end game? Okay, I didn't see it, but I would like to comment on it. The first thing that you need to do in order to repair a storyline is you need to get honest feedback. And let me say this, I think you guys are some of the most honest people in the Walking Dead universe. I think our army, our group, is some of the smartest, brightest, funny, critical. We love the show. I mean, that doesn't change. We're not here to bash the show because we don't like the show. We talk about the show because we would like to see some things better. And I think that's why we draw that comparison. But I do think there are some channels. I do think that there's some place out there that say, hey, it's great. Let's build this kumbaya moment, and it's a great family. And I think when you get that, you may not be given the right level of feedback. So I think to repair a storyline, you can't give too many storylines, and you can't bob and weave too much with the audience. Case in point. They were going to Alexandria. And then after the Sharpie lady, they just decided to build a little, cotton mill on the river mini community. Next thing we know, they're flying a damn plane. So You go from, hey, I know some people up in Alexandria. I made it down here. Let's go up and check on them. To, nope, let's not. And as soon as they get like the slightest little bit of breathing room, they start flying a plane to help everybody. And now they're all trapped. So we went from a vision quest to a good Samaritan effort to being trapped and under the reign of Ginny. That's where the shows went. So you tell me. And I'll ask this. Who here has a clue what Fear the Walking Dead's even doing? And I'm asking this different, like, are we entertained by it? I'll give it an 8. But does anybody here even have an idea what is happening? So then let me ask it this way. They got them in Texas for a reason, because they're certainly trying to, draw the connection to Commonwealth or CRM or whichever group they're going to buddy up to. So we got Portland, we got Texas, Omaha, and DC, Philadelphia. So we know they're expanding the universe. And I guess that's kind of what we have to keep in the back of our mind. But that's the reason, right? I mean, that's the reason why they stopped going back to Virginia. I think I would have rather just seen them go back to Virginia. I think at least that way we knew, and all this other stuff could have happened along the way. They could be doing this in Tennessee. They could be doing this in Kentucky. Doesn't really matter where they're at. But if the timetable was there and every week we're like, hey, they're getting closer and closer. Oh, they got to get there. They're gonna help the group. Maybe they never get there. But I thought that was a cool story. And then they just kind of cut that story off, and now they want us to, appreciate the bigger universe. And, Moon, it's fine and well. Morgan's gathering them up. Morgan's last stand. So why couldn't they have done this last season? And I get it. I understand why, and this goes back to the writing. And it gets blurred because you have to tell a story and you have to get to the end of the story. So I'm asking a rhetorical question. But that's where the character arc is not always believable, and it's kind of forced on us. So, no, I agree with your point. Like, I get it that, hey, they're all split up. And now Morgan's going to gather them all up, and they're going to make a fight. But they were all gathered up. They didn't have to surrender to Ginny. They were painting trees. Alicia and Wes could have been out scavenging for food, and they wouldn't have been starving, but instead, they holed up at that ranch, and they got desperate, and they had a wedding, and they painted trees, and then they surrendered to Ginny. And I think all that would be perfectly fine if we would have started out the season and we would just put to rest any hidden thoughts about who Ginny is. And like episode number 1, she should have just walked out and shot somebody. I don't know who it was. Just like, you didn't close the gate last night. Boom. And then whoa, she's crazy. Alpha, I mean, if Alpha cries in front of you and you see her cry, she's going to kill you for seeing her cry. That's what Alpha does. Alpha will hold your eyes open, have somebody hold their eyes open while she decapitates somebody. Negan will beat you down with a bat. The governor will cut your throat. Ginny will eat a sandwich and have somebody chain somebody up. And you know how I know this? This is how I know Fear the Walking Dead has a villain problem, is because all of you averaged like a 3 on the scary scale. Nobody was 7 or 8. Next season, next week, maybe she does something, maybe she becomes a 5. But they certainly got their work cut out for them. So let me ask you guys, and this is just the arc. I like to think about the arc and the direction of it. So what did you guys like about tonight's episode? Clearly, I gave it an 8. There were a lot of things that I liked about it. Part of what I liked about it, Ginny wasn't in the episode. She, I didn't have to worry about rating her level of evil. And I think that's why I liked it more, because it wasn't about what she's going to do. It was about this new group, and, there was some silliness in it, of course, with Dwight and with Morgan. I took a few points off with that. I appreciate the Sherry dynamic. I don't know that, I don't know you can keep leaving somebody in a zombie apocalypse when there's no cell phones and just keep finding them. I feel like Dwight left thinking like, yeah, you know what? We'll make up. I'll find her again. What if you don't? There's just that assumption. And, he did the infinity sign with the arrow pointing. So, but there's no guarantee. So let me get a bold prediction from you guys. Next week is going to be week 6. There's only 3 more episodes until we're at the 2 more episodes and then the mid-season finale. So let's get a bold prediction. Is Morgan going to build a mini community and then Ginny's going to come in and torch it and burn it down? And that was what was important. I mean, doesn't it kind of feel like that? Like instead of Morgan sneaking attacking Ginny, he's going to set up a community and then she's going to sneak attack him. Yeah, I mean, and I guess if that's where we get to, but I don't know, man. I don't know where they sent Alicia. We're finally going to get to see Lucy next week. We'll see Wes next week. But we're already 6 weeks in. Yep, but Eric, I don't know what constitutes a major character on Fear the Walking Dead. And I think the more segmented it is, where they don't have all the characters together, and they go week to week, and you get a different storyline from each person. It's just kind of hard to figure, what's gonna move the emotional needle. Yeah, she's not killing Strand though. Strand's just too sneaky. That's what keeps him alive. And Daniel ain't gonna die because they went through that whole thing of faking who he was. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know who you could kill on Fear. I would say the only one to me that makes a little sense would be June. I say kill June, but I said that last year. Yeah, or Luciana, but um, I didn't take a whole ton of notes, but I did like Sherry's involvement, the way they got to that, and what if the dude would accidentally shot Dwight? I mean, then you're like in a world of trouble. There's just so many things that happened tonight. I think the plan could have backfired. Luckily, it didn't. But Dwight takes the gun from that dude, and next thing you know, there's like 20 guns pointed at Dwight. Not one person got trigger happy and accidentally shot him. And then I think didn't the guy get the gun back? Like he had a gun at Dwight, and then Dwight got the gun, and then in the same scene, the guy was pointing the gun at Dwight again. Like how many times can the same guy have the same gun pointed at the same guy? Apparently a few. Yeah. Hey, I think these are great questions. I like the intricate questions where, will there be another reunion or what direction is going to go? I do think though the big story at this point, and we'll keep talking about this week by week, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next week. I appreciate you guys coming in, giving your scores, because I do think it is scaling up. From an entertainment perspective, it was much better tonight. I'm not going to lie. I found myself a little bit, I wasn't on the edge of my seat, but I was very interested to see what was going to happen. I was disappointed at a couple things, but not gravely disappointed. So we'll see. Let's layer on another piece of the story. I certainly don't think it's at a point of no return. And if it keeps gradually getting better, then by the time we get to the mid-season finale, then we'll see how it goes. All right, hey, we're hour in. Want to thank all of you guys for being here. Appreciate your thoughts, your feedback, your engagement. You guys are absolutely wonderful. Tomorrow night we're gonna do a little bit of Play Dead live. Hopefully we can schedule time during the week and we'll get a little bit of a preview. I know we wanted to get together on a Thursday and see if we can get a bold prediction. It's just this was a pretty busy week, understandably, for a whole lot of people. So now that some of the election stuff is in our rearview mirror, then I think we'll have a little bit more time to get together, do a couple streams a week, if nothing else. So I want to thank all of you guys. Appreciate you. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to PDL players tomorrow, and we'll get another stream hopefully during the week for all the Walking Dead fans. You guys are great. All the super chatters out there, thanks for your engagement, communication, and to all the other people asking questions, getting involved. Appreciate you guys too. See ya.